Hey, no worries.
Welcome, fight fans,
to the Fighters Boys Kick-Ass Podcast.
Your Fight Talk Authority.
Not to mention the most entertaining and talked about podcast with your kick-ass host, Richard Ortiz.
You mad? Come at me, bro.
And his loyal kick-ass co-host, Senor Cole Escovedo.
Streaming live and worldwide.
Coming to you all the way live from a little place somewhere in Cali. The Fighters Boys
Kick-Ass Podcast.
Fresno, California. We're live here in Mad Production Studios. We got a great show for you today. We're going to have a recap on last weekend's UFC fights. And we're also going to have a recap on last weekend's fight when I saw two guys fighting in the parking lot over a pizza. One had anchovies, one had pepperoni. And yes, this is real talk. Things like this happen, and we're going to talk about that.
Fucking Fresno.
Yes. Hey, Cole Escovedo, welcome back to the show. The UFC veteran himself, the Apache Kid, Mr. Cole Escovedo. What's happening, my man?
Oh, not bad. Fresno's hot.
Oh, it is hot. Talking about hot, man, I don't even want to waste a second or a minute of this man's time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to jump right into it. Our guest tonight, the man, the myth, the legend, the pioneer. He does everything but walk on water. And that's the one and only, the most dangerous man of yesterday and today. And that's Mr. Ken Wayne Shamrock. Welcome to the show, my man.
Hey, appreciate the introduction, man. That was good.
Yeah, I'm sure you hear that all along your career, my man.
Well, not quite like that, but it was nice. Thank you.
Hey, man, very well deserved. With me, I got the co-host with the most, that UFC veteran himself, Mr. Cole Escovedo, man. So you and him could chop up on some of the same turf there, man.
What's up, brother? How you doing?
What's going on, sir? How's it feel being a legend?
Oh, man, I don't know, man. I'm just glad I'm above ground and loving life.
Man, you're doing more than that, you know. You're starting some new direction in life for a new sport.
Yeah, speaking on that, I fell in love with bare knuckle, man, back in the day, when no holds barred, no rules, and didn't have no gloves. And I remember the first fight I went into, it was in Denver, Colorado, and I watched Gerard Godot go after Manuel Tue. Just smacked him in the face with a punch and kicked him. And my adrenaline went through the roof. I was like, dude, this is like real. Like, I never thought that this was going to happen. Like, I just
never saw a future in it.
Real. Yeah, it just didn't seem real. Like, you saw that in movies and stuff. And here it was happening, man. And I was like, oh, this is it, man. And I was jacked from that point. I fell in love with it. And then a guy like Tank Abbott comes in there, puts some gloves on, and starts knocking fools out.
Yes.
And then they started adopting the gloves, and away went my dream, the pureness of fighting. And so I always told myself if I had the opportunity,
you'd start something new like this,
or to start something up, that I was going to do that. And so here I am with that opportunity. Me and my business partner, Des Woodruff, got an opportunity to jump into this bare knuckle. We got to watch everybody else kind of launch and go do their thing, make the mistakes, the things that worked, didn't work. We kind of watched the landscape.
That's smart.
And then we jumped in and said, you know what? Now we're ready to do it because we know what the right thing is to do.
Mm-hmm. You've learned the business model and what works and what doesn't. Yeah, take a fresh approach on it and kind of go from there.
Yeah, you're not dumping a lot of money and a whole lot of stuff on fighters and places to fight and trying to get it sanctioned. We let somebody else do that. We watched to see what all those things were happening, the goods and the bads. And then once we got a good grip on what it is we wanted to do, who we wanted to be, how we wanted to present this, the kind of fighters that we wanted to put in the event, how we wanted them to fight, whether tournament, single, whatever, what kind of fighters, boxers, MMA guys, kickboxers, or mixture. There's a lot of thought that went into the start of this. We just didn't jump into it and start doing fights and then work our way around as we went.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of thought into this, and we went forward and made a lot of good decisions before we ever even opened the door and let people know we were going to do it.
Yeah, that's smart. Limits your investment cost.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, totally. There's lots of money to be lost in promoting fights. You got to be real picky with what ventures and what direction you take with it, because you can lose a lot of money real fast.
Well, and that comes to my next thing about being able to have the team that we have. Like Des Woodruff, who's my business partner, he's in the stock market. He knows trends and different things like that. He's good with numbers. He's good with finding out things that are starting to trend upward or downward. And so he was really good at being able to know the right time to jump into this. We've got Jen Wink, who is our PR gal, who was the PR gal for the UFC when it was in its prime. And we've got
you got Goodman on there.
Todd Middendorf, who was our PR, not PR, but our guy that actually oversees all of our people that are involved with this to make sure that they're all working in the same direction. We've got Richard Goodman, who is going to be.
That's a great pick there.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you what, man. The card, that's all him, man. He put this card together, did a great job. We just have a powerful team. We got a strong investment team behind us. Well, we just did all our things. We've got DirecTV, Dish Network, all major cable companies, Fight TV for streamers or digital.
Wow.
And we line this out right, man. We're not here for the short term. We're here for the long haul. And we're going to build this thing, and we're going to do it slowly.
So you mentioned some of the things that you guys have access to, your resources and tools and stuff. Where do you see the difference now in how MMA is promoted, or just combat sports in general, how it's promoted, the resources it has to promote it, and the audience it could reach, compared to, say, 92, 93, when you guys were first starting out, when the UFC was first coming out of the underground, it had just gotten exposed to pay-per-view, they had you coming in, like, what direction do you think the landscape would be like had we had the resources like we do now?
I mean, like I said, it'd be a different world. It's like apples and oranges. I mean, you just have a better grasp on things and a better knowledge of where you're going and what you're doing, and being able to have the capabilities of being able to get it out there to other countries or throughout the United States, where before it was just broken up. It wasn't really. It was kind of a spectacle. It wasn't really an event. And so. And that's where we're at with bare knuckle. It's funny because when you talk about that, that's where we're at with bare knuckle. It's almost the same thing when the Holds Barred came out. It's like people don't accept it yet.
Yeah, because they don't understand.
Why don't they? Because they're being told these things that aren't true. Like it's too dangerous, it's this, it's that. But it's the opposite of it. You have to be so much more skilled to be able to be a bare knuckle fighter. You look at Malignaggi went in and lost to a guy, right? So you think. My curiosity on this card, you got Mark Godbeer, who's the only one on the main card with the tournament that has any bare knuckle experience. You got Mighty Mo, Jack May, Romero Sokoju. I mean, these guys are all big hitters, but here's the thing: can they transfer what they did in the world that they were in into bare knuckle? Because bare knuckle is much faster. You have to be much more accurate. And that it's a lot easier for you to get caught and go down.
Oh, way easier, yeah. You're definitely at the puncher's disadvantage there.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I'm watching this and looking at the card, and I think to myself, man, it is going to be interesting to see whether or not these guys can transition into bare knuckle.
And that's the whole key right there, Cole, transitioning. I mean, a lot of people, they can play infield once they're asked to play outfield. Or a lot of people, professional baseball players, so to speak, and I'll use this comparison, or even soccer players play on the grass, the transition to indoor. It's a faster game. You gotta be able to judge it a little differently. Timing. Ken, I want to talk more about your team, because you mentioned the blueprint that you already have. You mentioned that you had the promoters, that you had the matchmakers, you had even the sponsors, but now we're letting you know right now you have the official voice as well, and that's the fighter's voice on your side. Myself and Escovedo, man, whatever you need, we are here for you. We're here to make it public. We're here to spread it worldwide, my man. How does that make you feel knowing that you have people in your corner? We're following the legend here.
I appreciate it because, I'm diving into a whole different world here. I could have done this a long time ago, but I chose not to because I felt like it wasn't something that I fell in love with. It wasn't something that I wanted to be a part of because I felt like when they took away the bare knuckle, they took away what I was most in love with, which was the purity of bare knuckle, the purity of fighting, the purity of submissions, and the purity of striking and being accurate. They took all of that away, and I was forced to fight with gloves on. And so I thought, I just wasn't in love with it. It's not that I didn't like it, and I didn't think that it was fun to watch, but I just didn't feel like I wanted to get involved and do any promotion or do any of that stuff because I just didn't feel the love for it. I really feel the love for bare knuckle. And I really want bare knuckle to be where it belongs, and that is right up there with the combat sports and with the respect that it deserves.
Well, you're definitely giving fighters, the opportunity and a platform. And before you know it, your phone's going to be blowing up, yours and the promoters, because you sparked an interest like never before, especially once you put your personal stamp of approval on it. Sky is the limit, because you can have 5 different shows walking around like they're blind. You stamp Ken Shamrock on one, you have gold. Sky is the limit. And just like your dad told me a long time ago, Bob, when he came to Madeira, he said, Richard, with my son Ken, sky is the limit. And now I'm hearing that voice all over again, man. Sky is the limit with this.
Well, I appreciate that. And I really do feel like our team that we have and the investment team that we have, we're all working together to try to put together something so that we're able to give the fans something they can be proud of. That Y and Z generation, like us, man, we had MMA, we had no holds barred, we had boxing, we had kickboxing. Our fathers and our great grandfathers had that, but now it's time, right? It's time for something new, even though it's old, but it's new. It's time for the Y and Z generations to adopt something, and I really believe that it's Battle BK bare knuckle, and we're going to put out a professional card. It's going to be professionally run, and going to bring it from the dark to the light.
There you are, man. I'm waiting for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's gonna be a challenge. You're kind of looking at the same challenge like when the UFC went dark before it came back on pay-per-view. You're gonna have to convince people that it's not what they've been told it is. It's not as dangerous as they've been told it is. You do face an uphill battle. So I do like that you've got that vision. You know what you're kind of up against, and it's you have a plan for it.
Well, and I do, because that's one of the things that I embrace is the education of the fans, the education of the fighters. I think it's our responsibility as promoters to educate people what they're watching, so that way they don't have the excuse of saying, "Oh, well, that's too dangerous, that's too gory." We have the responsibility, not the fans. We as promoters have the responsibility to educate the fans on what they're watching, so that there is no excuses for them not to watch it unless they just don't like combat sport.
Mm-hmm. They can't argue statistics at that point. It's just, I just don't like combat sports. That would have to be the final end game.
Exactly. And, I'm looking at here on our co-main event, which is, in my opinion, is one is a sneaky one. And that's Ishii Smith with Esteban Payan. I mean, you think about Ishii. He's a boxing world champion, right? And he's just recently, he's stepping away from boxing, and he's getting into the bare knuckle. And Esteban, I mean, he's an MMA fighter, and he's a damn good one.
Now,
so here's the thing.
Sorry to interrupt you, Ken. That said, I just want to bring up a point, because you got a lot of guys that are transitioning over from boxing. Do you feel that those guys are going to have an immediate advantage in bare knuckle fighting, just for the simple fact that they're coming from a sport where they already don't have to worry about shots and takedowns and kicks and elbows and stuff? Do you feel that they're going to have kind of an advantage over your average MMA guy coming over?
Quite the opposite.
Oh, you think the MMA guy as well?
Here's my reasoning. Boxing is used to having big gloves on their hand.
Okay.
MMA fighters are used to having
tiny
4-ounce gloves on their hand. So when you get into a striking match, everybody knows footwork. Everybody knows how to step back to the side. Everybody knows how to throw a jab. Everybody knows how to throw all these things. But do you know how to block?
Or take a punch?
Do you know how to block in bare knuckle? And that, to me, is the key between boxing guys being able to transition into bare knuckle, is knowing that they can't block. They've got to move.
That's true. They will have to. They're not going to have those big 16-ounce gloves to absorb a lot of that impact with the big fist coming at them.
And they're used to putting the hands up, and they're used to slapping punches away, and they're used to taking jabs, and they're used to being able to slip punches. But you cannot slip a bare knuckle, because if you miss, it's going to count.
Yeah, you're going to eat it right in the face.
I'm curious to see how these boxers adapt, as opposed to used to staying in the pocket and loading up to the body and slipping and moving when they're inside, and how they're able to take a bare knuckle shot. I'm looking forward to one fighter on your card, JC Lomas. I mean, very entertaining, man, and I'm really looking forward to him competing. And I definitely am a fan. I am going to support it. I am going to subscribe, and I'm going to make sure that I watch it so we can give the fans and the followers an awesome recap after this event.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, I think some of you can relate to this. Is like, as a fighter and you fought for a while, you see a fight and you're like, yeah, I could watch that. You're excited a little bit, but you're not like you when you first started out, like it was just you wanted to see everything. It's almost like you've seen everything already.
Mm-hmm.
But in this tournament, with the way it's set up, with the bare knuckle, with these guys trying to transition from what they used to do into bare knuckle, I'm really interested to see which one of these guys are going to be able to do some controlled aggression, because in fighting, you always have that moment where you start throwing because he hits you or you missed or something, and so you start blasting them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't do that in bare knuckle because you're going to break your hand. So you have to have controlled aggression.
That's true. I was going to say that was one of the big concerns too. I had a question about that. As a lot of broken hand risk there with the bare knuckle. As long as you do it right, you minimize that risk, though.
Yeah, and that to me, and that is the big key about this tournament, is guys understanding that they don't got to win it in the first minute,
Mm-hmm.
or they don't even have to win it in the second round. They've got to make sure that they're landing their shots. If they have the opportunity to finish it, then yeah. But if they don't, they got to be patient for that time to happen. Even if they take a couple shots and they're not able to return, don't force it.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They need to remember it's a sport and it's also an art form.
Patience.
Exactly. As opposed to just like when you see some guy that says, "Oh yeah, I can fight," and you see him hit the heavy bag, and the guy just goes off for about 35 seconds, and he's huffing and puffing, not knowing that he needs to work on his jabs, his hooks, and just movement and putting sets together. It is a sport. It is an art form.
Yeah, when you do that, you're stepping. You see guys just wailing on the bag.
Yeah.
You understand that they don't know what they're doing, because
Yeah.
everything that you throw with a punch, it comes from your legs. So when you step into a punch, it's not your arms or your back doing it. It's you're stepping into it, you're popping it, so there's no energy being used.
Yeah.
That's true.
Exactly. Exactly.
It almost seems like instead of shooting missiles, you're going to be firing gun range, real light, just pop, pop, pop. You're just trying to land and not really bust the guy's face open because you risk breaking your hand. You're just looking to land. It's almost like it's like boxing but without gloves, because you're just looking to land that jab or land that right. You're not looking for the knockout punch every time until you see that he's hurt or tired. Then you can start breaking him down.
Yeah, that's a key too. You know, you think about
breaking them down.
double in bags, right? Double in bags is a perfect method to use for bare knuckle fighting, because you want to hit the target. You don't care about how hard you're hitting.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that you're hitting the target, and then if you get that target hurt, now you can go ahead and follow up with the one that's hard.
Plus, taking knuckles to the face probably hurts more than a glove.
Well, setting traps, baiting them in, and setting them up. That's what you're doing. It's strategic. Now, anybody that goes in and goes crazy, okay. You
It'll be flashy.
You already know what kind of level that you're facing. It's like, okay, this guy's in on my level. First of all, he's fighting himself because he's not composed.
Mm-hmm.
There's no game plan in his arsenal, so he's going to go one round, if that, or till I touch him. Maybe I just need to get him out real quick.
Yeah, that's the thing too. When they start opening up like that, you know, all you got to do is time it. He touches you on one side and you throw from the other, and you know it's there.
So this card coming up, it's going to be in North Dakota or South Dakota?
Yeah, North Dakota at Four Bears Casino on September 21st.
And you can watch it on pay-per-view, on Dish, Direct.
Yeah, we have DirecTV, Dish Network, all major cable companies. We also are streaming on Fight TV Digital. So we've got it all, man. We're like I said, we're not in this for the short run. We're here to build bare knuckle, Valor bare knuckle, where it belongs in that respectable combat sport.
With that in mind, do you have any shows that you've already started planning and mapping out and trying to card and post up after this one?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes. We're already looking. We've already been approached by, I can't say, but we've been approached by some other states that are going to be opening up.
Mm-hmm.
And they've already approached us about wanting us to do their first bare knuckle event in their state.
Oh, good. Okay, that's always a plus when you haven't even had your first show yet and you got other athletic commission states and stuff going, hey, can you come do that, our first bare knuckle?
Exactly, Cone. Let me say this. That wouldn't happen unless there's a certain stamp of approval on there. Mm-hmm. Unless there's a certain person that says, hey, I back this up, I support it. Because I know, Ken, you've been approached many times, you've turned down many sponsorships, many proposals, and now you find something that's right up your alley, that you're passionate about, and you don't co-sign for just anybody.
No, I don't like losing. I don't like to do something and then not win. And so if that's the case, then I'm not going to get into something that I don't think that I'm going to win, right? Like I don't think I'm going to be good at. And so, like I said, I had opportunities with a lot of other different things, even movies, and I just kind of stepped away. I did some, but I realized, it's not something that excites me. And so if it doesn't excite me, I'm not going to do well at it. So I back up. But
the one with Denzel, remember?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This excites me. So I know that this is my love. This is something I want to do. I want to give these guys an opportunity to follow their dreams, and I want to live mine.
You have to have a passion for it. If you don't love something like that, especially on this scale that he's investing his time, his name, his marquee, all that stuff into, if you don't have a passion for it.
Name a fighter today or even yesterday that was involved in UFC. No, actually Pancrase, okay, in Japan, UFC, and we're gonna say, and WWE.
Mm-hmm. Now
back to ballot. Back to MMA. Back to MMA. Yes, exactly.
Knuckle.
And now he sounds like a kid in a candy store. You can hear the energy, you can hear the intensity, just like when he was competing, and he said those key words: "I don't like to lose." So he's going to give it his all.
Yeah.
There's not too many fighters out there doing that.
Not that started out as long ago as he did, that have been in in combat sports as long as he has. They kind of start to dwindle and lose that passion and stuff.
Or you could just see it's business written all over it. There is no passion. It's like when someone shows up, they see it as a job. As compared to, man, you do what you love, you never work a day in your life.
True.
Yeah, and we're, like I said, I'm really blessed to be able to have the team I have around me, because I mean, there's so much connection, there's so much experience within our team that we're able to get states to call us and say, hey, we want you to be able to do our first bare knuckle, because of our team that we have, the connections that we have. A lot of us have been in this for 17 years plus. I've been in it for 30. So, I mean, you imagine the 5 or 6 people that we have on our staff that have all been in it for 17 plus years. That's a lot of experience.
That's a ton of experience.
Yeah, that blueprint is there. I mean, you have some all pros on your squad.
Yeah, for sure, and we're excited too. You know, the next thing that we did, because I'm always for the fans. I've always wanted to make sure that the fans enjoyed the fighting, enjoyed the performance, and so I've always included my fans in everything. And it's not any different this time. We have actually done an interview yesterday with Forbes, and we announced on Forbes that we were going to allow the fans to be able to pick the first round matchups in the tournament. And we announced that yesterday, and they got till midnight to vote to see whether Mark Godbeard goes up against Mighty Mo, or Jack May goes up against Mighty Mo, or Romero Sokolju goes up against Mighty Mo. So these fans are going to be able to pick the first round of the tournament.
Is that still an open voting system?
It is, till midnight tonight.
Where do they go? Do they go to the Valor website? How would they be able? Let's say I wanted to vote today.
Yeah, Valor website, valorbk.com, and Forbes also has a link.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Forbes 500. That's a good company to attach your business with already out the gate. So, did you get a chance to watch any of the fights over the weekend?
I didn't, but I saw some highlights. I was almost like I knew it was going to happen, but at the same time, I didn't know if it was, because I know the ability of DC. Mm-hmm. If he's in shape, he wins. If he doesn't train and work out like he usually does, but hasn't in the past, he kind of lays off a little bit. That's when he gets himself in trouble, because I think he still has enough to win. I think what he's, like you said, they get to a point where they just get tired of it. And they just go in and just fight, and they don't put the hard work in. But I thought if he would have put the hard work in, he could have won the fight. But I just don't think that he put all the hard work in.
It looks almost like he wasn't as, and I don't want to say prepared. DC, don't get mad, Rudy. DC, don't get mad. It doesn't look like he was as prepared or expecting something to go as long as it did. Like, I don't think he was expecting those fourth and fifth rounds.
It didn't seem like he was as sharp when he's really training and working hard and hungry. He seemed to be sharper, like he's quicker, he's sharper. You just felt like he was a step behind.
Yeah, it did definitely look like he was just like a half second behind Stipe on everything. And it just, I mean, personally, I was super confused about that match to begin with, because you had a guy that
you didn't like
lost.
that match.
Yeah, I just didn't like it because he just lost, hadn't fought anybody else, and then they gave him another title fight. Now, having seen that fight, now I could totally get behind a third one, because now that totally is a fight worth watching, because they get 1-1, so a rubber match would be ideal at this point.
Right. Yeah, and I don't know what DC was doing, but I'm not when you're talking about a career and you're talking about where he's at in his career, you have to be very selective on who you're fighting. And after you beat somebody, you don't give them a second shot right away. You build it up.
Exactly. That's why I was so confused. I just didn't understand the match, which I'm sure DC was just like, yeah, I'll throw for whoever you want.
Exactly. Let me interrupt real quick. Cole, on a rematch, who comes in hungrier?
The guy who's getting the rematch.
Exactly. He's living you. He's dreaming you. He can't wait to destroy you. He's married to you until he fights you again. He's obsessed with you.
Yeah.
And that's what it became. You can't overlook this guy. He made the transition. Those body shots, I don't know where those came from, but those were key. And he wasn't paying for them. He wasn't getting countered with the right hand. There was no elusiveness. Those body shots set up that right hand, in my opinion.
100%. He totally worked that body.
If you look at DC, he did not look as hard as he used to look around the midsection. He looked a little soft.
He did look a little soft.
He kept pulling up his shorts too. I noticed that.
That's true. Yeah, he did keep tugging on his shorts like that. That all those points point out to a couple things of maybe a lowered expectation of where they thought the fight was going to go, the direction they thought it was going to go. He even admitted in a post-fight, he was like, "Yeah, those body shots I took more than I thought I should, and that's what led to me not seeing that right hand coming." He even said it. He said, "I just didn't see it coming because I took that body shot."
Short too.
That was super short.
And hey, kudos to Mochek. I think that's how you say
absolutely, absolutely. You know what I was most impressed with, Ken, is after the fight. Did you see his dance? He still had that energy. He had to celebrate. He had that energy.
I don't blame him.
When you win, all of a sudden you got all kinds of energy. I don't care how tired you are.
Yeah. That's amazing how all of a sudden you have that energy after a win. You're just like, I thought you were tired. Nah, I'm good.
Hey, man. Speaking of energy, now I don't know. I'm not endorsing this product. I'm not saying I stand behind it or I don't. I have my own, opinions about this. But let's talk about Nate Diaz. And how we put the show on and what he's doing to prepare himself. Give me your call on that, your take on that, Cole. And also, Ken, feel free to jump right in.
I think it's going to be – I can't wait for Jorge and Nate to fight. They've already announced that they're discussing negotiations on that. I think that would be a barn burner. I can't wait to watch that fight because they're both down. They're not scared. They're not anything. They know what each of them brings to the table as far as their talents and risks. Yeah. And that they know makes for a good fight. But the problem is money talks. At the end of the day, they're going to have to pay a pretty penny. The UFC is going to have to cough up some coin to get that fight to happen. The concern now is, will they pay that much money? Because both those guys know what that fight's worth. That's right up there with like a Diaz-Conor fight. Everyone saw that and was like, well, I can't wait to see that now.
What happens? That's what happens with that. And I think that's why we're not going to get to see a lot of those fights is because with the pay-per-view, the way that was set up, they were able to compensate for those big numbers. But now that they've sold to ESPN, there's just not that big box office payday for them to keep pushing that kind of money in that direction. So a lot of these big fights that you normally would get on a pay-per-view event, they're just not going to happen.
Yeah, that the ESPN Plus deal had something to do with like 500K buys or whatever was all they cared about. And they said, once we hit that, we're only going to promote it to try to hit that. We don't care what level the fight is. Nobody gets any more money or anything.
The fans lose on that.
The fans are going to lose. The fighters are going to lose even more because they're the ones that are going to be putting on the
That's that fine print, man, when you sign those big deals.
Yeah.
You hear the dollar signs, but that's that fine print. And it led up to the expectation. It came back and it's going to bite some people in the ass.
It might. We actually might see Nate shelf himself for a while if he doesn't get offered the right money for that.
Well, I mean, he's like, who's the other guy that can shelf himself for a couple years? My man, a featherweight. Cruz,
Dominic?
Yeah, Dominic can get on the shelf, come back with no rust. I mean, but Nate, he did it. Didn't show any rust. I'm not saying that's the way to go. I hope it doesn't happen.
I'm sorry, you guys, but Nate is a different breed, bro. He's like, he could come out of bed and still whoop somebody's butt.
Yeah, he trains all the time. He's doing triathlons, marathons, all that stuff.
He is a different animal. He can get ready to get married, literally be in a tuxedo, getting ready to walk down the altar. Somebody look at him and say something that he doesn't approve, he will step out of walking down to the altar and start to throw hands.
You know what that is? That's a mindset. It's literally a mindset. There's a switch that's on and there's a switch that's off and there's nothing in between.
Some people just they have that gray area. He does not. It is fight time or not fight time.
Fight time anytime.
Pretty much, yeah. That should be a T-shirt.
No, well, yeah, fight time anytime. Okay, we're going to trademark that only on the fighter's voice.
Yeah, he's either really chilled, really chilled, or he's full speed.
And that's sometimes you want that. I mean, as a promoter, you look for that too, because you got a guy that's not going to go out and throw a chair through a limo or go and do something silly. But when it comes game time, they're going to produce for you. And that's what you want as a promoter.
Not only that, not only do people tune in for his fights, they can't wait for the post-fight interview.
Post-fight, pre-fight smokeout.
Yes, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, to be the first guy to smoke, to light up, now it was CBD, but to be the first guy to smoke up at an open
He
workout
finally got
like
on
that.
the Wheaties box. There you go.
That's gold. I love that.
Right? Not
That's
quite the Wheaties box
amazing.
we think of.
Yeah, exactly.
But he is definitely a man who Nate's in a very, very safe position because he knows what he's worth, and it's not just his opinion. You can go to multiple sources, and they're all going to say, yeah, he's worth that you should be paying him that.
Pay the man.
Pay the man, exactly, yeah. I mean, well, Nick, we haven't seen Nick fighting forever, and I don't know if it's a combination of the UFC doesn't want to use him or he just doesn't need the money. He doesn't need the money, so he doesn't have to fight.
No, he's doing something. I mean, ends are meeting there. He took a picture 2 days ago. He was in Beverly Hills. He doesn't go there to shop.
He's probably training boxing or something right now.
But here's the thing. You have fight fans that like Nate Diaz, the fighter. And then you got these high school kids, where I work at the high school, you got these Nate Diaz fans that just like him as the badass. The wearing the black shirt, the attitude, the whole mystique, everything. That's a whole different
persona
I don't
for
want to
them.
use, there you go, persona. I don't want to say a dark place, but it's just a place where he's making an impact.
They can relate to that image, and they can get behind it.
Cole, I went to high school. I went back there. They want to be just like him. All they kept telling me, did you see the fight? Did you see the fight? Did you see the interviews? I mean, they were more worried about their interviews. I said, did you see the finish? Do you see how he set it up? No. Did you see afterwards what he said? Did you? And I'm like, here we go.
Yeah, and that's going to lead. He is a gold mine. He is a promoter's, he's a promoter's dream and a promoter's nightmare at the same time. Because there's so much risk.
Sometimes you wonder if some of his decisions, you're like, stop.
Yeah, I got to commit. Dana has had so many sleepless nights just going, God, what are the Diaz brothers doing now? Why is my phone ringing? Yeah, so I can imagine.
I hate to tell you this. Dana's had a lot of unsleepless nights, but it ain't because of Nate.
There you go, yeah.
Well, I mean, it could be worse. He could be punching old dudes in a bar in Dublin. I mean, if you look at some of the stuff that guys like Connor have done compared to things like Nate have done.
I want some research on that, because if he touched that old dude, why did that guy have a chin or what? I don't think he touched him clean.
I think he threw a drink in his face.
Okay.
Yeah, they grabbed him. They grabbed him before he got to him is what happened.
Yeah.
But it's good for entertainment.
Oh, yeah, but if he'd have got there, and I think that's the dumb thing with Connor is, you got to know your boundaries, man, because you're rich right now, but all it takes is one incident and you're broke.
Yeah,
exactly.
Exactly. Getting sued. Speaking of entertainment, and this is the correct word for it, these are the questions that I got today, and most of them are coming from the high school kids. Well, actually, you know what? Check this out. They're coming from the high school kids' parents. And one of the questions for you, Ken, was, what was it like working with The Rock?
Oh, man, that was so classy. A good dude, a gentleman, but a hard worker and very professional, man. He was one of the guys in there that when people ask, what was your best match? I wouldn't say best match. I would say best journey, because we had built a program in a short amount of time. And in that program, me and him went from being wrestlers that were decent to wrestlers that were putting on the best shows with the best guys on the card, including Steve Austin. We were right there with them. And so being him together, we had such great chemistry. We put on great matches. And I really wish that WWF would have stuck with the program and that they would have brought The Rock up for the heavyweight championship, and I would have come up after him. And then there would have been a four-way between Bret Hart, Stone Cold, The Rock, and Ken Shamrock.
Yeah.
That, to me, they should have stuck with that program. For whatever reason,
there you go.
They let it go.
I bet that was fun. You'd have to imagine that working with a group like the Wrestling Federation, that had to be a fun experience. You just got to really explore who you were as both an entertainer and an athlete.
It challenged me, It literally challenged me to try to transition to something else. Like, okay, the fighting thing is dying. I can't support my family. I can't support my gyms. I can't support the Lions Den or the houses that the fighters are living in. I got to go do something else. And I had to transition, and I didn't know yet, right? So I jumped into it and, got some advice from Bret Hart, worked with Vader. And next thing I know, I'm looking and going, hey, I can do this.
Mm-hmm. You found your comfort zone kind of thing in it.
Yeah, and he just did it. It just became me, and from there it was just it was history.
That was good. Actually, I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I became a WWF fan. I was a WWE fan because of you. Reason being is because me and my son Richie, we didn't know when you were going to come on or if you were going to run out, when you were going to fight. We just knew you were going to fight. So along the way, we're sitting through there, and I wasn't a fan of it. I'm going to be honest with you. And I'm thinking, and I'm watching, I'm saying, well, when's Ken coming on? When's Ken coming on? His dad said he's coming on today. So we're watching. So along the way, we picked up these characters. We started to like it. We started to identify who they were. And then you're on. So we got hooked on it because of that. And you would come on there, and especially when you came to Fresno, and yeah, we were there, man. I mean, your dad, he would give me a call, and he would say, hey, I just want to give you a heads up. Ken's going to be on the show today on Monday Night Raw. So I said, all right. So we tuned in, set the VCR, press play, and we were good to go, my man.
Right on, man. Yeah, those are fun times, man. Like I said, it was enjoyable. A little bit scary at the time because I had to make a move because, you know, the UFC was going through some struggles at that time. And I had to support my family and the gyms and everything that I had built. So that was a scary time. But at the same time, you know, after, you know, I got settled in and started doing the wrestling and stuff like that, it was really an experience I'll never forget.
So looking back on that career and stuff, have you ever sat down and thought about what you might have done differently or a direction you might have gone differently?
Oh, absolutely. You know, when you're young like that, especially as a fighter, right, you're so serious, you're training all the time, you're focused. And then you get into something like pro wrestling where you're traveling the world like a rock star. Mm-hmm. Girls are coming to you, free alcohol, free drugs. I mean, you name it, right? Free meals. And everything is just pushed in your face. And, you know, it's like, okay, what do you do, right?
Yeah, it could be overwhelming. It could be overwhelming.
Like, no, I'll take 2 of her and 2 of her.
and supersize her.
Yeah, right.
It could be overwhelming for someone.
At the same time, I would have done that differently. I would have been a little bit more focused on my career, on my strategy. I mean, I still did well and I was still focused, but again, not as focused as I should have been.
No, I could see that where you felt there was a missed opportunity where you know that if you had taken it a little more seriously or something or being a little more stern on some of that stuff, you could have done things differently. I can see that. I feel you. I was in Japan for a dream fight, and I'm sitting down it was like almost 1 a.m, and I'm seeing like Josh Barnett and Matt Hume and a couple of these other guys are like walking down the street, and I'm thinking, I could totally run outside right now, catch up with them, and go with them wherever they're going. Yeah. And I thought, man, I don't know. I'm not trying to get locked up in Japan. And sure as shit, I'm at the airport the next day, and I'm looking around for people because I was on some of their flights with me, and I was like, hey, where are these guys at? And they're like, oh, they got into a bar brawl last night. Like, they're not making this flight. And I was like, oh, dude, that was a decision. So I can see, looking back on those things where just taking everything being thrown in your face, like Ken said, it's just being thrown in your face. It's so easy to just go, yeah, go ahead, give me.
But
because
I like the menu he talked about.
Yeah.
What was on the menu? That's what I like. I mean, that's a good talk right there.
Yeah, as long as you realize it, you take them home before midnight. yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants a pumpkin.
No one wants that. But I got to ask you this: when you were in Fresno, how true to the rumor is it that you and Mike Tyson had a face-off? That you walked up to him and just looked at him? Did that really happen? I know he was a gentleman to your dad, but I'm talking about when you walked up to him.
It was because it was an awkward situation because Vince McMahon asked me to cut a promo on him, even though he wasn't there, right? Yeah. They were trying to get him to come into wrestling, and they wanted the world's most dangerous man to challenge Mike Tyson, call him a rapist and a punk. And so I was like, I mean, he's my boss, so okay. I didn't know why or what, but okay, if that's what you want me to do. So I did the promo. Well, then we're in Fresno, and they were bringing Mike in, and they said, hey, Mike's going to be here. And I was like, okay, this is not going to go well.
Yeah.
I cut a promo on him and called him a rapist, and I was going to whoop his ass when I saw him. And Vince never told me, and then he's saying, hey, Mike's going to be here, and he's in the building. He was already in the building. And my dad comes up and, hey, Mike's here. And I was like, all right. So then as we're walking down the hall, Mike's come walking down the hall. My dad's walking next to me, and I go, hey, Pop, stop, stay here, stay out of the way.
Yeah, because you never know.
Stop, right? And so I walk up to Mike Tyson. I look right at him because we're walking the same hallway, and I look at him just before I say something. he goes, "Oh man, I'm such a big fan of yours." He gives me a hug. Right? And I'm like,
There it is.
I'm like,
Sure.
okay. I guess we're okay.
Yeah.
That could have gone totally different.
Yeah, so it was a trip because Vince didn't fill me in that he knew I was going to do it. He didn't fill me in they were going to do a program with him. He just said, "Hey, I want you to cut a promo with Tyson." I was
Nice.
like, "All right."
That's usually how promoters work. They just kind of throw it on you last second so they can just get what
They
they
want a
out of you.
reaction. They
Yeah.
want a reaction. They want to see this stuff go down.
Well, yeah, that makes
Well,
pay-per-view.
what they wanted to know is whether or not I would be afraid to do it or whether or not I would be hesitating to do it. They don't know, right? They're looking at me going, "Hey, cut a promo with Tyson." Tyson's that dude is badass, right?
Yeah, that's
people pass out when they walk in the ring to fight him.
Yeah.
You only have to throw a punch.
That's true. I can imagine the concern there of, well, now, do I really want to say this? Because Mike's going to hear this.
Yeah.
Man, screw it. It is what it is. Let's go.
There you go.
Okay. Well, at least I know if I can take him down, I got a chance.
There you go.
Yeah, and that was one of the big things back then was when UFC first started coming out, when MMA started getting popular, was those different styles.
Yeah.
You could kind of look at it and everybody would see the guy with the one boxing glove, the guy with, the wrestling shoes on. It's like, okay, well, we know you could already see
That was the whole
who's gonna
mystery.
go.
That was the whole mystery. You talk to any fans, they go, "Oh, well, Ken gets him, he takes him down." So, okay, but if Mike hits him, and it's going to go back and forth, back and
Builds
forth.
debate.
Well,
Exactly.
listen, Mike was built like a tank. He was built perfect for MMA because he was short, he was squatty. All his punches were hooks, uppercuts, and he was short. And so if he was to fight in MMA and he would stay low, man, you'd have to do an ankle pick on him.
Yeah, yeah, you'd be shooting from on the carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay low.
Man, but I could see with those little gloves back then. That's why I've always said there's certain guys that just like Sugar Ray, things like that. I'm just like, man, those guys are so fast that if you just put little gloves on them and just let them go in, dude, you would light you up like 6 times before you even got out of the pocket. It would just be
so
insane.
fast, lightning fast. And then, but you know how their hands adapt. A lot of some fighters like Floyd Mayweather, he brought Stitch in, because of the hand wraps, because the way he wraps his hands. And Tommy Hearns with the right hand broke it over Hagler's head. So, a lot of times too. But that's why Ken was talking about, almost like pop shotting instead of loading up and committing. Because if you don't land clean, you got a broken hand, my man.
Dude, yeah.
That's
Now,
right.
do you see a difference in the hand wraps? I've been watching a lot of the bare knuckle on some of the other groups, and I see that they're barely coming up over the wrist, and then from like almost low palm up is just open. Do you think that's going to work safely? Do you think that's actually going to really give support to that metacarpals and stuff? Because that's where you're going to break it, is you're going to hit those knuckles, and those metacarpals are going to give.
Well, here's the thing. See, we're different than everybody else. There's no tape on the hand. There's no taping the thumb. It's only the wrist. If you want tape, it's on the wrist.
Oh,
no
dang.
thumb.
Okay.
Reason being, because when you tape the thumb, that means it gives you support on the thumb, and you can poke people in the eye.
True.
So we want a God-given talent. What you have, what you were born with, is what you're fighting with.
They meat hooks.
Yeah.
Good.
Wow.
If you don't have strong hands and you're brittle, you don't belong in bare knuckle. You're not a fighter.
That's true. You got to start hitting them sandbags a little more often, build up them calcium deposits.
Exactly. Build something on, or like old school, they'll put urine on them to toughen up your knuckles, man.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
No, that's real talk. I want to take you back, and then we're gonna move forward, man. You can't see this right now until I send you the link, but I'm gonna hold it up so everybody can see. Ladies and gentlemen, what I have right here is the original. I don't even know if you can get these anymore. This is from Loxford, from Lodi. Bob Shamrock, Mr. Bob Shamrock, he sent this to me. Lion's Den shirt. Honestly, Cole, I've never worn it. Even
Really?
has dust on. No, I didn't want to wear it. This is a masterpiece
Well, why
right
would you
here.
want to ruin it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's half lion, half kin right there, and in the front right here. Boom, right there. And as you can see, I'm wearing the black hat, the old school hat with the white logo.
Yeah, I was going to say, I noticed that too.
His dad sent me a shirt and a hat, and my mom a shirt and a hat.
Oh, cool.
Ken, I know you've been to several all over the world, but I mean, you got to remember going to Madera, California, and talking to the kids at the high school.
Yep.
At the North Campus, South Campus.
Yep, I do remember.
And I remember, I'm going to tell you a quick story. I asked your dad, I said, well, what would you like to eat? Because you were going to come over for lunch. And your dad said Spanish chicken. And I said, what the hell Spanish chicken? So my wife at the time, she made some chicken mole, bro. We kept it real. My wife made the chicken mole. My sister made a cameo, came in to make and brought in the homemade tortillas. And it was,
Hey, are you going to say I broke your chair?
You broke my freaking chair. You remember that?
Yeah.
What did he do? Just plop on it?
No, dude leaned back on it and went pop. Because his back and his back arms. And
Wow.
my wife just looked and said, "Did that just happen?" I said, "Well, hey," and I'm gonna tell you a story because after you left, she goes, "Are you gonna fix it or get?" I go, "No, I should have had him sign it." That was the whole. That was real talk.
Yeah, I mean, back then, dude, I wish I could say that Ken Shamrock came over and had food at my house. That would have been a story to tell people.
Oh,
man.
and you know what? This was right in his prime. He was getting ready to fight chemo.
Oh, yeah.
And he was right on the cover of a Black Belt magazine. I mean, it was just.
That's
yeah.
a prime time. That's a prime Ken right there.
It was. And I remember the kids across the street, they were looking around. They couldn't understand, okay, who is this guy? But it was the parents. And they go, "Hey, who was that?" Because I wasn't sure, right? Because actually, you know, back in the day, it wasn't me, but they would pirate the fights. So they were familiar. They go, "Hey, was that
Was that who I think it was?
Yeah, exactly. And your dad had, I believe it was a two-seater Cadillac. I believe it was like a pearl white. Just awesome, man.
It was an Alante.
Yes, awesome.
Nice. Nice, man. Hey, you know, not everybody can say Ken came over and broke my furniture.
And what he did, yeah, there's the magazine right there. The one I have at home, he signed.
Oh,
Well,
nice.
You signed it, Ken, yeah. Getting ready to fight Kim. Yeah,
I
he
remember
broke my
when I-
chair.
When
Broke
I
my
broke
freaking
the
chair.
I remember when I broke the chair, I was like, I ate and I was full and I kind of leaned back and tried to stretch and it just popped.
It did. It did. We're all sitting there at the dinner table and go, "Oh, okay, that's cool. We'll accept that."
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? But like, how do you broke my chair?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, there's a picture right here of you in my house with my brother shaking hands. You can see the old school VHS tapes.
Oh, yeah.
A picture of you and my mom. And
Got the vest on. That's
no,
old school.
No, bro, he was like, hey, he had the black slacks on, the black shirt, the vest, and then he had a trench. His dad was holding it.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
no, his dad was
yeah.
on. No, his dad was his manager, his dad, and his PR all in one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no, he had everything on hit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, he had it on lockdown, man. He was good.
well, you got to admit that's probably where you get a lot of your business approach to the sport now is the lessons he taught you about this is how you run a fighter. This is how you run their career. This is how you promote them, push them, get them out there and stuff, trying to making all the right decisions for you in your career. I imagine you've transitioned a lot of that into your way of thinking and how you approached building Valor the way you have.
I did, and he because when I came to him, I was a rebel. I mean, I literally been stabbed at 10. I was in and out of juvenile hall. I go to the group home, and I start changing my life over. And so he really taught me how to be a man, how to respect people, but at the same time, stand up for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a hard lesson to teach someone is how to stand up for yourself, but be respectful at the same time. That's a hard line.
One Punch Shamrock.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah.
that's an old school name, right? Your pops told me about that.
Yeah, it was because I worked in bars and I was knocking dudes out with one punch and sending them to the hospital. And then I get into fighting and everybody didn't even know I could punch.
There it is.
I like it. So, real quick, what would you say is your most memorable fight? Doesn't have to be in the States, could be an old original fight from your early days. What is the most memorable fight you think you'd have?
Well, I think there's a lot of them, but I would have to say the one that probably sticks out the most was probably the me being able to beat up Hoist. And really, because no one really took him anywhere. That
Yeah,
was the
and
first-
you basically broke him. They threw the towel in on that one, didn't they?
Yeah, I showed everybody how to beat him, which is to sit in the guard, not try to pass it, just ground and pound him.
Yeah, exactly. Just do damage from the position you were in.
So that was one.
They stood you up on that overtime, and you dropped that right hand on him.
Yeah, and it wasn't even supposed to happen, but of course, the Gracies were running the show, so they run. His brother runs up, Morian runs up, and goes, "Hey, 3 more minutes." And it's like, "Wait a minute, I thought we signed a contract for 30." I was like, "I'm fine doing it because I'm fresh," but I was a little shocked that there was no sanctioning. There was.
He was
really
kind of
nothing.
just
It was
fly by the
it
seat of
was
your
It was
pants.
a wild, wild west, man.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, that's cool. That would definitely be on the high list of fights that made something because he made him quit. Like
Yeah.
Helio threw in the towel. They were done.
That fight was designed for you guys. It was the first super fight, correct?
Yes, because every time I tried to fight Hoist, one time I made it to the finals and Hoist backed out. So I said, "I'm not fighting anybody." It was Steve Jenham. I could have killed him, no problem. But I wasn't there for him. I was there to beat Hoist.
You were there for the challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what everybody was doing back then. The Gracies had built this image. I mean, granted, like Ken said, they were kind of in control to the extent of they kind of picked the fights, and it almost like they tailored it to who they would have an advantage against. Who can we use jiu-jitsu against that will give us the best chance to win. And now, it was still supposed to be art versus art and stuff, but they kind of tailored it a little bit to kind of give them that edge of, well, we're going to get a win or two in this tournament first because we're going to have that advantage, and then take the risky fights.
That was Ali Frazier. Everybody wanted to see it. That was the build-up. Everybody wanted to see that.
The one boxing glove guy?
No, I'm talking about Shamrock and Gracie.
Oh,
everybody wants to see that.
Everybody wants to see that.
Exactly. But you know what, Ken? You guys can play chess, and something will happen. Somebody will get broken right there because you guys are just. You bring out the best in one another, man. You seem to. Because every time Gracie fought you, there was a different look in his eyes. And you had that scary look when you started smacking your lips and your chin out. It was a wrap. It was almost like a scary cartoon, somebody that was going to kick your ass.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, me and Gracie, in my opinion, we really, I believe, brought the interest into the world of no holds barred. Because if it would have been, if I wasn't there and Hoist would have just run through that, it would have died. There was just nothing there. But because there was this all-American guy, spoke well, good character, and you had this guy from another country, Brazilian, who's supposed to be this guy that can't be beat, and then you got a guy coming in there who has 2.5 years of experience, and this guy has 20 years with 50 years behind him, and there's an upset. And so I believe it really got people interested in that fight, because otherwise I think we would have got shut down because of the nature of the fights.
Yeah, that's true. You did have to have that rivalry. That's a good point.
Well, if he wasn't there, Hoist would have walked through everybody.
It would have. It would have changed the landscape. We'd be looking at it differently than we do now. It really, really would.
Actually, I like your buddy Taktara.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy was tough, man. He just went. There was no quit in that dude. He was sandpaper.
No, I trained him when he beat Tank. I trained him for that fight, for that tournament. So I was really happy for him.
That's some good stuff right there, man. I mean, just being the pioneer of what it is today. I mean, nobody could ever take that away from you. I mean, two different styles, two different worlds actually collide, and now look at the end result. I know a lot of it has to do with marketing, publicity, etc., but you have to have something to market.
Yes, that is true. And like I said, I'm grateful for the transitions and everything that happened. So, you look back on it, you wish you could change some things. You wish you had insight on something here. But the really good thing is though, where do you end up, right? Where are you at in the end? And if you're like where I'm at right now, I can't complain, man. I think I've had a great career. I've had some ups and downs, but that's what makes it so great, is that the journeys of the ups and the downs.
Yeah, it would definitely be labeled as probably one of the top 5 historical careers of combat sports, easily. Just the things you've accomplished and who you fought and what you've done, not only for your own personal career, but what you've done for combat sports as a whole, and how you've tried to progress it and keep it in the limelight and keep it exciting and things like that. You really committed part of your life to that sport itself, not just the UFC, but to that sport as a whole.
And where I came from. I mean, I came from the streets. I didn't have a home. I ended up in group homes, ran away from there, got stabbed, and robbery, all kinds of stuff. And then I get an opportunity to turn my life around. And not too many people, when they get that chance to turn their life around, they do it. I seized on it, man, and I knew that I wanted to have a better life. And Bob Shamrock gave me that opportunity.
Yeah, he gave you the opportunity to want something better for yourself, and you totally committed to that opportunity.
And he showed me how to do it. I was angry. I was frustrated. Every time somebody would look at me, I want to fight him. So he put me in football. He put me in wrestling. He gave me an avenue to be able to vent my frustration. So when I did vent it, I became important. I was relevant.
Well, exactly. I mean, a rock star. I mean, he's talking about it. I mean, wherever he went, especially even the WWE, and then to go back into MMA, a lot of people can't make that transition. I want to ask you, was there ever a person that you didn't get to fight, that you wanted to fight? I mean, you just said, you know what, our paths never crossed, something always seemed to come in the middle of this, but there had to be somebody in your prime that you just wanted to, touch up a little bit.
Yeah, there's 2 of them. The first one is Tito Ortiz. And the reason why I say Tito is because I fought him when I was 40-something, and then when I was, 40, just late 40s. Yeah. And I didn't get a chance to really go in and fight him in my prime. And I thought, That would have been a great rival right there. We would have had some great fights, and I think I would have won some and I would have lost some, but it would have been one of those rivalries that people would have remembered. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, the timing wasn't there. The other one is Brock Lesnar. I thought, man, what a great opportunity. I thought I matched up well against him.
Yeah, I could see that. That would have actually, the styles would have made for a good matchup. I can get behind that.
I attacked his legs, because
Yeah.
he's very slow with the ground stuff, with the legs and stuff. And Frank Mir showed that. And I thought I could have really had really good success with him in that.
Cool. So real quick, Ken, let's give you an opportunity. Make sure everybody who wants to watch the fights in September, where can they watch it? How can they order it? The contest for sure.
There it is right there. There's a dream match right there.
Oh, yeah.
We got a picture of you and Brock.
Yeah.
There you go, man.
So they can.
Listen, it's Valor BK, September 21st, Four Bears Casino, North Dakota. We've got a great card. We got a tournament that we're going to do. We're going to crown our champion on that tournament.
Nice.
Fans get to pick the first round.
This is a single night tournament, right?
TV, Dish Network, all major cable companies. We got for streaming, digital. We got Fight TV. So, yeah, man, we look forward to being able to put on a great show, a professional show, a show that we can hopefully that the fans, when we're done watching it or they're at the venue and they're leaving and they're exhausted, but they are content.
Entertained. I like it.
They're going to be asking for the next one.
Yeah, they are definitely going to be. I imagine, I already have high hopes for this show. I mean, everybody tries to have high hopes for their first one, but with the amount of energy and staff and team that Ken has behind this, I expect them to do good things.
You know what gets me the story behind this? Because you're going to have a former fighter or just a fighter that's going to make the transition. He's going to be at home watching this. And he'll probably going to be on your third show and one day champion of the world. Knowing, okay, I watched it, I was introduced to it, I wanted to try it, and here I am.
Yeah, because I tell you, I truly believe in my heart, or I wouldn't be in this, that this is the future of combat sport.
It definitely has the potential to be, yeah. It definitely has a chance to niche itself as a leading combat sport promotion.
Well, and it's not done where it's at, I mean, you got to think about this. This is bare knuckle, right? So if we get used to bare knuckle stand-up, can we get bare knuckle back into MMA?
That's true too. That would be one of the next evolutions, I would say, in combat sports. Once you kind of get a ground with bare knuckle and go, look, bare knuckles, it's component, it's intelligent, like it can be done safely and entertainingly. Now, how do we start transitioning the rest of that in to see who really the badasses are? Yeah.
Because when you look at the way that they're fighting now in mixed martial arts, glove when you catch somebody's back, it's hard to choke them, man, because you got that glove.
Yeah, that does really hinder you.
Glove on, you're going to finish 75% of those chokes.
This is true. You can't argue that. Those gloves, they're a safety thing, but they are really a hinderment when it comes to the ground fighting. It's a super
Has
hinderment.
its pros and cons. Just like anything else. I liked you, Ken, when you had on the ASICs on, man.
Yes.
No, I mean, no. Yeah, I remember one time you accidentally started a kick and you go, okay, you kind of said, my bad. And you kind of corrected it a little bit. Yeah, I think that was a Severin fight, the rematch, I believe. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I was a cat in those things, man. I had a really great takeoff on my shots.
Yeah.
It was good.
That's when it happens, man.
Well, Ken, we appreciate you coming on and sharing these stories, man. These were some good stories.
They're true stories.
Yeah, these were some good ones.
Some true stories. But he remembers the break in the chair.
Yeah.
No, that was real talk. Because I was thinking, okay, I don't have a pen. I mean, can you sign my chair? But still, you know what I mean? But he remembered the chair story.
I did sign it. It's broken.
Yeah, you did. Exactly. Hey, man, but I got the original shirts and hats, and you're a class act just like your dad. I mean, he paved the way. He gave you the opportunity, but he saw something in you. He saw the potential, and this is only the beginning. And I don't even want to say the end result because sky is still the limit. And those are his words. I remember him saying that. And you're giving back, man. You got a platform, and you're doing really well, man.
Yeah, I look forward to that. I look forward to educating the fans and educating the fighters, being able to have a platform for these guys to go and fight, follow their dreams.
There you go. Now, I know you're going to be traveling. Just something to think about whenever you come around the valley. First of all, we got to get you in studio in Fresno, California on The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. We're simply knocking out the competition, just like Ken Shamrock. But we got to bring you back to the high school, man, and talk to the boys and girls there and make that impact like you did the first time.
Yeah, that's my love, man. That's my passion, helping kids, man, at-risk kids and kids, period.
There you are. Hey, Ken, as soon as we're done, I'm going to send you the link later on tonight so you can view the show yourself. And you can let us know. You're welcome to use anything that you want from it. We're going to push it. We're going to promote it. We're going to continue to promote and back everything that you're doing for yourself, the community, and for, most important, the world.
Okay, I appreciate that, man. Thank you.
Hey, you got it. All right, Ken, we'll be talking to you later, man. Appreciate your time, my man.
All right, you guys take care, man. Peace.
Okay, take care. There you go, another legend on the show.
That was actually really impressive that with all the different stories and experiences he's had through his longevity of it, like his career spanned like 30 plus years.
Yeah.
It's really cool that he remembers that moment, like being in your house, breaking that chair. Because he beat you to the punch. He was like, are you going to say I broke a chair?
He broke my
like,
freaking chair.
He knew it. Like he knew exactly what story you were talking about. But just to have a guy that's, sometimes you get these people like they're super important, they're super athletes and stuff, and you could have met them 15, 20 years ago.
Bro, this was in his prime.
Exactly.
In
And
his
to
prime.
have him remember that is just, it's like the guy just has this ability to just, this passion, this personality that is just, he's just that nice of a guy. I mean, they call him the world's dangerous man, but to be able to remember a dinner in someone's house 20-something years ago and you broke their chair. Like,
when he leaned back.
Yeah.
Because he did relax.
Yeah, it's like, dude,
But
like,
here's
how
the,
does he
here's,
remember
here's the
that?
thing. I want Spanish chicken. That's chicken mole in a Mexican house. He tore it up. Actually, I was going to get to that part. The plate was completely clean.
Oh, I bet he was a hungry boy
But
back
his
then.
metabolism probably just pushed it all out.
Yeah. I
Didn't
bet
even
he
know it was there. Didn't even carry it.
Burned through it in a day, I imagine.
And now, one thing I did watch, though, because a Mexicano, they'll grab a tortilla, and they know how to use it. You grab it, and you know how to grab your food with it.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him. And he grabbed that tortilla, and he was scooping stuff. And I was like, oh, get on down. He's one of us, right? It was just something small that I noticed, as opposed to, you bite it and you kind of, nah, he knew what he was
just
doing.
eating it, versus eating it with an understanding of how to eat that food. Like there's certain ways you eat certain food, like you twist spaghetti with a fork, things like that, use a spoon, but like to know to just, that's just,
exactly.
that's life.
And I'm going to put my sister on blast. I want to thank her, Sylvia Ortiz, for making the tortillas. But you usually just go drop them off, right, and go. This particular trip, when she came to my house to drop off the tortillas, her hair was done. Her nails were done. The perfume was happening. And the kind of the swinging of the hair and everything. Because she didn't just drop off some tortillas. She probably tried to throw her number in one of those tortillas. You know what I mean?
Hoping Ken would find it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, man, I mean, for him to remember that, he's still down to earth. And his dad is, I mean, well, that's living proof right there.
Yeah, what Ken is today and his personality and how he treats people is really just, he's living proof of his father's teachings. Easy, down pat.
Yeah, nice guy, man. So, other than that, man, I want to talk more about this UFC and even the Romero. That was a great fight. That was a great fight. See, when you see fights like that, even with the Diaz fight, I want to see round 4.
Now, like I said, at the last, when I did my picks on the show last week, I was going with Romero, and then as it got closer to the fights, I started researching Costa a little more, looking at his record, who's he beat, how's he beat him. Dude was 12-0 with some decent wins, not superstar names, but there were some solid gatekeeper level guys that he was just going through. And then I switched on. I was like, you know what? I'm going to go with Costa. That's why I made that video for us. And I was like, I'm going to go with Costa on that one.
Great videos, by the way.
And and I was so like close to being 100% correct, but I was right with going with Costa on that one because you don't get 12-0 at that level without actually being. It's just nobody really knew who he was. Nobody knew his name. They just know Romero. And they know like Yoel's just crushing people. I was under that spell first at 2 until I sat back and looked at it and go, well, no, hold on, let's be objective. Let's really look at this as a fight. And then, I mean, the Diaz fight wasn't a surprise. I didn't expect it to go to a decision at all.
I didn't think the 3 rounds would favor Nate Diaz, but he made the transition. He even said, okay, I had to pick up the pace because it's 3 rounds.
Yeah, exactly. And he even said that later.
He made him fight.
Yeah, he knew he was, he's used to custom like 5-round fights. And he's like, so I got a little tired trying to put pressure on him faster.
He didn't fight just anybody. Very well-rounded Pettis. I mean, from any angle, any degree. And not to say this to be mean, he neutralized him.
He did. He really utilized that reach. He had like a 3 or 4 inch reach advantage, and you could see it. There was a picture floating on that one right there. Yeah. That one. Just look at the reach. Look at it. He's hitting him on the chin, and Pettis' knee is just barely.
Look at this. I've never seen him so chiseled on top.
Oh, I mean, you can see his shoulders. You can see his shoulders, his back muscles coming out. I mean, Nate definitely took this fight with, I've been off for 3 years, but I haven't been off for 3 years.
Yeah.
I just haven't been fighting for you guys. Y'all ain't get to see me to fight. So he came in, I think he kind of came in to make a statement too.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a point. I could be off for 3 years, smoking, hanging out with my boys. I'm going to come back, I whoop ass of anybody you put in front of me because I'm Nate fucking Diaz. And that's just
right.
how he is.
There he is right there.
I guarantee
The face of UFC.
if they don't approach
There
him,
you go, right
if they
there.
don't approach him for
They needed something, man.
And he knows it. That's the best part. He
Bro,
knows it.
Bro, I mean, what he said after the fight, he goes, the bat motherfucking bout.
Yeah.
Something to that
Dude.
effect. I mean, can you see shirts already?
Dude, yeah. I could see shirts with the bad motherfucker belt on it, like
Yes.
around the waist. And
Yeah.
Nate made that very clear. And because he said
But see,
that.
you know what's going to happen in UFC? I'm telling you right now. If you don't endorse that belt right now and put the UFC belt on there, Nate's going to make his own, but the graphics are going to be
little different, little more offensive,
yeah, a little green leafy substance, so to speak, around.
It's just, I mean,
That's him.
Nate's the kind of guy that nobody told him to say that. He knows what
gosh.
needs to be said. He knows the entertainment value, the promotion value.
I got to be real careful what I say, man. I really do because I work at the high school, but he's making as if to say, okay, it's cool to do that. Because like I said, kids aren't just looking up to him as okay, he's a badass in the cage. They like his walk outside of the cage.
Yeah, they well, because they can relate to him because of his background. Him and Nick's background, where they grew up. They grew up in Stockton. I mean, they used to take lessons from Caesar. They used to train with Caesar,
Racing.
and this is how they got into it. Was we're going to learn the move.
Yeah.
We're going to go out, and we're going to see if it works.
Yeah.
Like that was literally how they got hooked, because once they did that, they were like, "Oh fuck, this is it.
Yeah.
You taught us something that worked in a street fight.
Yeah.
We're yours. Teach us. What do you want?" And that was just life. It was a live by learning kind of fire thing. And it's just Nate's built this persona of everyone kind of doesn't take him as serious as far as his intelligence stuff. They think he's not that smart, but he's slowly showing everyone that, look, you're underestimating me.
Yeah.
Like to be able to say that kind of stuff.
No,
on the fly,
no, he's in there.
he's super in there. It's
I mean,
super in there.
don't let the hesitation or those that speak less, they already got you. They're 3 steps ahead of you.
Yeah.
You don't need to be a vocal and I'm this. You're talking too much, man.
Yeah.
And just later on with you. And he's one of those dudes. And he'll tell you right now in the middle of an interview whether he likes you or not.
Oh yeah, because to him it doesn't matter whether he likes you or not. He's talking to you. He doesn't have to like you, but he'll still have the conversation with you. But you'll know he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
And it's not personal. He's just like, yeah, man, I don't like you. It's whatever. But yeah, what was
Yeah.
your question? Because
Yeah.
he doesn't
Yeah.
care.
Exactly.
That's where they can relate, is that he's not a puppet. He's not being manipulated. He's not being controlled. He literally told the UFC, "Fuck you, pay me." And they wouldn't pay him what he wants, so we get that 3-year layoff. And he comes back and just fucking goes to work like it was like he just fought last month. So the UFC's in a really weird spot because they've got this tool that they can use, that they can market and make money off. And granted, they're going to use him to make money.
Everybody that said in office said, get him out of here, cut that. They're looking at the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
They don't lie.
Yeah.
Love to hate him, whatever it is great business. And right now, he is the face of UFC.
Yeah, he really has. Then I like that he didn't really talk about Conor, because that's just a fight nobody gives a shit about.
Who's talking about him? Who made their
Exactly.
proposal? And I was going to talk to you
Exactly.
about that's a whole different segment. Conor don't bring up somebody unless they're
Exactly.
fire. Somebody asked me, hey, do you think if that's irrelevant? That's not even going to happen.
Not
That-
even
it-
relevant.
Yeah, no.
I'd
That-
rather
that
see him
already
fight
passed.
Jorge. I'd rather
Yeah.
see him fight, I mean, he'd have to come down to 55s. I'd like to see him fight Khabib, but I think fighting Jorge would be a barn burner. One of those two is going to get dropped.
Well, he's not picking just anybody. He's picking another badass. Mm-hmm. And he acknowledges that.
And they're not even going to have to talk shit. That's the
No.
best part. Like,
No.
it's not where your usual, like, okay, guys, talk shit, build it up. Nah, dude. It's like, dude, all right, guys, so November 5th, you're going to watch us fuck each other
Yeah.
up. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
And then we're going to go and have chicken after. That's all it is.
Exactly.
And so that's one of those fights that just making the fight is enough for promotion.
Mm-hmm.
You've given the fans that, like I said, that's a fight we as fans deserve. If they don't give us that fight, why?
Yeah.
What do you have 2 guys that are worth millions to you because of who's going to watch it?
Yeah.
Why aren't you giving us that fight? Like, they'd really be stupid at this
two
point
different
not
fan
to.
base.
Yeah, well, it's not that it's 2 different fan bases. It's the same, and they have such a huge following that people don't want to see them fight each other because they don't like each other. They just want to see a good fight.
Yeah.
And that is in a box, a perfect fight, because
Yeah.
who cares if it's over in a round?
Yeah.
Dude, the hype and
They
the build
fought.
up for that. Yeah, it's a hype and
They
the build
agreed
up.
to
Yeah.
kick each other's ass.
And that's
the
all
whole
the promotion.
thing.
That's it.
Exactly. Talking about promotion, I just got the gag order today, so I really can't talk about it. And this is our city we live in. But Fresno, California, it's not what you think it is. It's not what has been hyped out there. It's not what you're hearing on the internet or on Instagram. Fresno does have a real grudge match approaching. That's starting to be lit and it's starting to be burning. I can't mention the names, but it's in the making. Trust me. And this whole thing is going to flip the whole script. You heard it first only on the Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. Like I said, we're simply knocking out the competition.
You have my interest.
Well,
Is it,
I got
okay,
the gag order,
here,
bro.
Let me squeeze some of that. Is it going to be within a combat sports held in Fresno, or will it be held?
It'll be in
somewhere else?
Fresno.
Okay, so it'll be in Fresno.
Maybe a casino, but in Fresno.
Okay. Okay. We got little tidbits. Do we know? Would I know the parties involved?
Their area codes are 559.
Okay.
No, no said. I can't even say
That's
anymore,
all that
'cause
matters
he's
right
probably
there.
going. He's probably going. Richie, you mother, don't you, don't you.
But that is plenty. That's
Yeah.
plenty. That's enough for you guys to
Yeah.
go, what is coming to Fresno next? Because
Yes.
remember, Fresno's always been a hub and a
Yes.
marketplace, a
Yes.
test market and stuff. So, but we're slowly growing that
Yeah.
image of, I mean, hell, Fresno was in a Captain America movie.
Absolutely.
So they know.
That's what's up.
The people
And the
in
Karate
know
Kid
know.
Part 2.
Yeah. Yeah, the people in the know
Yeah.
that the know is the place to be as far as what's evolving, combat sports, business, industries, advancement, things like that. Like, it doesn't seem like that, but because for a long time, Fresno was looked at as a little town trying to act like a big one.
No.
Well, slowly we started to establish, some respect, some consistency.
You
and
use
things
the
like
term
that.
it's a testing market.
Oh, 100%.
We're pretty close to saying it's a market.
Fresno itself is a market. It is a very different market. If you can have a successful business in Fresno,
Yeah.
chances are you can spread that out to other larger communities
Yeah.
and be way successful, because you got to really hit it to knock it out of the park for Fresno, because
Yeah.
they like it one week and then the next they don't, or they continue to like it, and that's
Yeah.
just, you either live or you die.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? At the end of the day, not pat myself on the shoulder. You know, when I said I am who I say I am, I am. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to just start an Instagram and all of a sudden it's a popular thing to do. I know what the hell I'm talking about. Love me, hate me, or whatever. It doesn't matter. I'm here for the fans. I'm here to give the fighters a platform, and I'm here for you. Even the ones that hate, it's okay, man. We don't have to shake hands, man. Yeah, we can hash it out.
Hash it out.
Yeah,
It's business.
It's all business, man. I mean, it's an opportunity for people to talk. Cole, you better pull out that black Rolodex, man. I know you got it in there, my man. We'll bring them on. Well, look at the G right there. Oh, with a cat? There we go. Yeah, in case you didn't know.
It's like the world's best Christmas card.
It is. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, once again, don't forget to follow The Fighter's Voice, www.youtube.com/The Fighter's Voice, the only voice that matters. We're simply knocking out the competition. And I'm going to put some people on the hot seat. Those of you that ask for tickets, those of you that ask for, hey, is this guy going to be here? Can I go with you to LA? Can I go with you to training camp? Can I drive with you right here? Bro, if you're not going to subscribe to the channel, don't even ask. Okay? I mean, and I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it there. I got strangers subscribing to the channel. I got strangers hitting me up. And you know what? Those strangers, I'm going to take care of them with some box seats. I'm going to do that for them.
Hey, why not? It
No.
shows that you can still give back. You can bring people
Absolutely.
in, keep them engaged.
We can share the love.
Ah, yes.
There you go. It's
That's
all
what it's
sharing
about. The love.
Hey, as always, I'm nothing without my co-host with the most, the UFC veteran himself, the Apache Kid, Mr. Escovedo. I'm Rich Ortiz, your host of The Fighter's Voice. Don't forget to subscribe so I can give you some tickets and some shirts and some hats. As always, it's a wrap. Thumbs up for Richie.
Okay, fight fans, it's not goodbye, but until next week.
Remember.
It's always voiceography at its finest. So on behalf of Richard Ortiz, Cole Escovedo, the special guests, and all the crew right here at the Kick-Ass Podcast, saying hasta luego, babies. And always, thanks for listening.